So, firstly, welcome back to another episode of Reboot. And thank you for all of the additional subscribes to the channel and the likes to the last video, which were my reflections after living in Cambodia for 5 years and thinking about YouTube and the algorithm and how I'm going to take a step back from making content that delivers clicks. So for this video, what I thought we would do is talk a little bit about the conflict that's going on at the border, but not from a he said, she said perspective, but just deeper thoughts in terms of what that means and how the algorithm, again, going back to the algorithm, is driving a lot of the anger and frustration that's bubbling up regionally, nationally, in some of the comments that we're seeing on videos that are being posted. So I hope you enjoyed this video, and as ever, would appreciate your comments in the comments box below. And I would ask that we keep them respectful and grounded in compassion. So thank you, thank you, thank you. I woke up a few mornings ago to a comment that stopped me in my tracks. It was from Bush Tucker Phil out in Tibet. It wasn't a long comment, but it said something that really stuck with me. It said, altruism is enough. And I really got to thinking for the rest of the day about altruism. And altruism, I think, is a word that we throw around sometimes without really chewing on what it means. In a world driven by metrics, by likes, by monetization and vanity, doing something for someone else without expecting anything in return feels a little out of place, almost subversive. So if you followed this channel for a while, you'll know I've spoken before about the shift from intention to attention. And if you didn't watch the last video, pause and go back. But today I want to come at it from a slightly different angle. And the video playing as the backdrop for this vlog is a video I took at a family lunch out at Chesda. I think I've said that right. And it was an awesome afternoon surrounded by people who genuinely matter to me. The sort of day that reminds you what actually feels real, not performative, not monetized, just real. So a good backdrop to this video. So here's something I've learned. The more I speak about calm, nuance, and compassion, the fewer people watch. But the moment I even mention a comparison between Cambodia and Thailand, my views spike. And that's not a coincidence. That's the system working as intended. The algorithm doesn't reward kindness, it rewards emotional stimulation. Now, don't get me wrong, I'm not blaming tech alone. Humans are complex. We're drawn to conflict, to rivalry, to narratives with good guys and bad guys. It's ancient, tribal. It's almost in our DNA. But what happens when that ancient wiring gets hijacked by platforms designed to monetize our anger? Suddenly, a post about temple etiquette becomes a battleground for national pride. A reflection on poverty sparks an argument about governance, and a simple comparison, say about food or traffic, turns into a proxy war for identity. Even when we say things with empathy, it doesn't always matter. The machine hears keywords, it amplifies outrage. And we've seen that recently in the real-world tension building along the Cambodia-Thailand border, actual clashes taking place, soldiers exchanging fire, civilians displaced, lives lost. It's tragic, it's frightening. If you pick up a copy of the Bangkok Post, you'll read one version of events. The Phnom Penh Post tells a completely different one, each shaped by history, national identity, and state influence. And those differences trickle down into our daily conversations, even online. Suddenly a tourist reflection turns into a diplomatic spat in the comments section. And what's especially alarming is how quickly history is bent into a weapon. Social media becomes the front line, memes, old maps, ancient grievances, suddenly dragged into the now. We forget that our neighbours today weren't even alive when these lines were drawn. I think it's easy to forget that nationalism often masks itself as pride, but when pride turns into disdain for the other, we all lose. Because what gets lost in all of this are the people, the villages near the checkpoints, the truck drivers that can't cross the border, the children who don't understand why school is cancelled. The human cost of nationalism is dressed up as news, and still online it spreads like fire. 1,000 tiny battles in the comments section, while those at the top remain untouched. So I think it's definitely worth asking who profits from all of this outrage. And I think there's three groups. And the number one is the platforms, because engagement means ad dollars. Attention is currency, and nothing grabs attention like drama. Second would be the media. Sensational headlines get clicks. Headlines that pit nations or groups against each other generate fear, loyalty, and views. But third, and perhaps most dangerously, are political interests. Because outrage is a tool, it's a smoke bomb, a distraction. And when a population is angry at an external enemy, they're less likely to look inward, less likely to ask hard questions about corruption, inequality, injustice. And in Southeast Asia, this isn't new. We've seen it play out 100 times before, headlines shifting focus from internal failings to external enemies. It's almost textbook. We become the pawns, our emotional bandwidth is weaponized. And the tragedy is, while the elite play their games of power, it's regular people who suffer, who get caught in the crossfire, online and off. We become suspicious of our neighbours, we carry inherited grudges. We forget that most of us, Thai, Cambodian, British, Lao, Vietnamese, French, Italians, Americans, just want to live quietly, to care for our families, to have enough to eat and find some joy in the everyday. And that brings me back to the comment that started this whole video: altruism is enough. And it sounds simple, but it's a powerful act of resistance. And in a world that monetizes rage, where every scroll tries to pull us into sides, doing something generous without expecting attention is revolutionary. Kindness doesn't trend. Compassion rarely goes viral, but it ripples. It kind of creates the energy that doesn't fuel the anger machine. It dismantles it. We're told, from birth almost, that we need to win arguments. But maybe, just maybe, we need to lose some pride first. We're told we must always have a take, but maybe silence is sometimes more sacred. And like I said in the last video, I've been guilty of trying to play the game, tweaking thumbnails, chasing momentum, but I'm tired, and maybe you are too of that. So what if we all just stepped back? What if we used our platforms, our voices, our lives, not to provoke, but to heal? So yes, I'm still going to post, and I'll do it on my terms, with the intention of being of service, not bait. Because I think the anger machine, that's what I've called it, only works if we keep feeding it. And maybe it's time that we let it go hungry. So just before we close this vlog, I'd just like to say a couple of things. The first is, I do hope that some of the nationalist comments designed to inflict pain begin to slow, and that we pause sometimes just for a second before hitting the keyboard. It's so easy to forget the weight that our words can carry. And I also truly hope that the conflict at the border is resolved soon, not for the headlines or political points, but for the people, so they can return to their lives, their peace, and the small beautiful routines that make life worth living. So that's it for this vlog, and I hope you enjoyed it, and I will see you on the next one. And as ever, please feel free to share your comments in the comments box below. Thank you very much. Bye.